A big component to your site success is your ability to render your content and allow users to interact with it appropriately based on their various browser and operating system. To identify this information, you're going to use both the technology reports and the mobile reports, which you'll find here in the audience category. I've selected the browser and operating system, that's what the OS refers to, under the technology tab. And here on the right-hand side, if I scroll down, you can see a list of the most popular browsers in order of their session amounts. I can see that Chrome contributes to 50% of my overall sessions, followed by Safari, Internet Explorer, Android browser, and so on and so forth. This really helps me understand specifically not only my user, but whether or not I need to modify my site or test it on those browser platforms. To get a little bit deeper into our data, we can select a browser, in this case Safari, and we can see which versions of Safari are contributing to our overall percentages. Now you'll notice that this number here on the right, sessions, 126,000, 65%, you have to remember that you're within a section of that dimension. So this browser version 8.0, it's referring to 65% of Safari users are using 8.0, not 65% of the entire site. This is helpful if you're deciding whether or not you want to support a browser. If we look down here and look at Safari 5.1, I can see that 0.71% of all Safari users are actually on this browser, and it might not be worth it to me to support that browser. You can also select Network here on the left-hand side and get a view of the service provider being used. This isn't always all that helpful. It's a little bit interesting. You can see if people are on Charter or T-Mobile. Typically, this might be used if you have a sense of the #1 provider for some of your users and you notice an outage. Say you hear that Time Warner reports that all of Texas has lost internet. That would help you understand if 5% of your users were on Time Warner, that would be an indication of why you lost traffic. It could simply be an outage with their internet. Here in the mobile reports, I'll select Overview on the left-hand side, and we can get an overview of how these devices are used on the site. It's not actually just going to show me mobile here. What it's going to do initially is provide a device category. So I can see the percentage of breakdown of users who are using mobile versus desktop versus tablet. Now, this is really interesting. 68% of the users on this site are using mobile, whereas only 24% are using desktop. This suggests to me that I need to execute and adopt a mobile-first design and rollout strategy, meaning everything we do for this site needs to start with mobile. That's where the core of my user base is. So if we break something on mobile, we're going to be hemorrhaging a large percentage of our traffic. And to drill a little deeper, you can select devices from the mobile view, and now you can understand exactly of that mobile user what devices are most popular. Here in the list, I can see the iPhone and the iPad are contributing a significant amount to my mobile usage. You can also interact with these primary dimensions. So if you want to look at the, say, operating system of these users, you could select on that option there. And we'll see that we have Android and iOS. So interestingly enough, this audience is 67% on an Android device. So even as I consider my mobile-first strategy, I really need to think about it as making sure that everything works on an Android before I worry about whether or not it works on an iPhone. Use your mobile and technology reports as a way to better understand how the user is accessing your site. By paying close attention to these data points, you'll understand how you need to modify your site and what platforms you need to be testing to make sure that none of your users are excluded.